something real quick before we go further, because he talking about their Christian institution. So, I don't be lying, right? I try not to say, I try to only talk about what I know, right? So, a Christian institution, that's real Christian, ain't it? Who is that? This is Christian? Is this Christian?
I'm actually watching that right now, like the actual, and she got some non-traditional black folk on the stage dancing with her.
I'm just saying.
And we all know she don't make Christian music.
Rick Ross ain't Christian. Trina ain't Christian. Terrence J, he played the line. This one of these new rappers that ain't Christian. Desi Banks, come on. Yeah, okay. They not. I don't really know their names, but yeah, they not. They ain't. This ain't Christian material.
And hold on, let's keep in mind, this is October, November of last year, of 2022. This is like a month or two before Ed Reed.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's before they lost the FAMU too. Ouch. Yeah, I said it. So, but I just wanted to show y'all how Christian they was, for their homecoming. So, but back to the president.
Rooms to the other places. We had given him some permission that he really took to the next level. First of all, he wasn't authorized to even take video. He wasn't authorized to do any of those things, but he did them anyway. The university had to take responsibility for that because it happened. But quiet as kept, that isn't the kind of behavior that we would expect. And then the expletives and those kinds of things in that first video, you might call that an aberration. And I would say it could be. And you have to be a forgiving individual. But when you have this much damage, you look at the gym and you look at this video and you look at it critically. But I would invite anyone to come to our campus because all parts of our campus don't look that way. We are really trying to work hard to clean it up. And given the fact that, again, we suffered 2 hurricanes back to back, and because of supply chain issues, because most people in Florida, particularly Central Florida, are still recovering. I have people from my staff living on our campus because their homes were destroyed. Ed didn't take those things into account.
Dr. Hold tight 1 second. Continue our conversation with Dr. Lawrence Drake, who's the interim president at Bethune-Cookman. Dr. Drake, you were talking about the conditions, him not being allowed to shoot video on campus. What was it the second video? What was the final straw? What caused it where you made the decision that we're not moving forward with Ed Reed as coach?
I think the final straw was actually the 3rd or 4th video, one with the background music being booties, butts, and boobs, and hoes. And, we have 65% of our campus is female. And my view is that we are trying to build young men.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. To my lip smacks, Drake.
No, he said booties, butts, boobs, and hoes. Did he say hoes?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
So he forgot to censor that one.
Because he Christian. Okay. And he smack his lips.
Okay.
I think hoes is in the Bible.
Respect black women. We're trying to build a culture where they understand that people can say whatever they want to say, but we think you can do anything respectfully. And when we think about the culture that we're trying to build, that we have companies and partners like Disney and some of our other partners calling saying, what are you going to do about that? We can't support that kind of image. And of course, they're one of our biggest sponsors for the Classic.
So you're saying Disney, officials with Disney called you complaining about Ed Reed and saying we can't support Bethune-Cookman if he is going to represent the university?
They didn't say we can't. They questioned what we were going to do. And I think that was an appropriate way to approach it. But they weren't the only. So
were they implying that they would pull support if he continued as head coach?
I think that as a leader, you have to make the decision. And if they are inquiring, they have a vested interest. They believe in the image that they want to project. And you have to think, what are the possible outcomes of you continuing to do what you're doing? But here's the bigger point. And
that's what That's the part I wanted y'all to hear. I wanted everybody to hear him say that. So football. Look, man, look. What's crazy is the first thing come to my mind is when Georgia won a national championship, right? They released audio of Kirby Smart, his pregame speech. He profane. I ain't gonna lie. It was a fire speech. It was a fire speech. Now, good speech, but profane laced, way worse than what Ed was going in. But I think this is more about BCU's pride being hurt. Let's just call it what it is. It's BCU's pride being hurt that they were exposed for the conditions that they have. Because according to the students and the parents and some of the alumni, they've been ignored for so long. Because all of these conditions were there before Ed Reed got there. They were there before he got there. So, I mean, could he have put the video out in a different way? Yeah, he could have, but he didn't. It came out the way it came out, and it needed to come out. I don't think he should be fired. I think BCU's pride is hurt, and this is their retaliation to their pride being hurt because not only the President Drake, but Reggie Theus acting like one of them as well. So, you know, it's the board, it's some of the administration, Reggie Theus, President Drake. They are against Ed Reed, and they butt hurt that they've been exposed for the conditions. I mean, like, what have you all been doing to make the conditions better? You got players talking about their players and students are existing in mold. And then he's one piece of the clip. It's not mold, it's mildew. oh, yeah.
Because that's better.
Yeah.
So it's healthier. You know, the funny is one of the things that I see with this is you have bourgeois Negroes who did not recognize that Ed Reed was not a bourgeois. He was rich, but he wasn't bourgeois. And the way that's typically handled is if you remember Drumline, the movie, when they kept talking about when the president of the university kept scrutinizing the brother that was the professor that was running the drum line or running the band.
Yeah, the bald head dude. The bald head brother.
Well, no. It's the brother that the actual brother that was actually the professor that was the doctor that was
the band director.
The band director, right.
Gotcha. Orlando Jones, gotcha.
Yeah.
Right, Orlando Jones. And one of the things that I noticed when I saw that is the whole idea of what it looks like. You know what I'm saying? And I recognize that especially when we talk to bourgeois black people, they really don't give a damn about the internal mechanisms. It's like watching a clock that's broke, but I'm gonna shine it up and it's gonna look good. It don't work, but it look good. And I want the whole world to see this big shiny clock and look at it and think of us in a prestigious way, but the shit don't work. And we're not even concerned about fixing the mechanisms. All we care about is if this work. Ed Reed came in and said, hold on, man, the clock don't work. And he showed people behind the wall of the clock. He pulled up the glass, he pulled it over, opened the door, and the mechanisms was all over the place. And that's where you're talking about in terms of their embarrassment, because it's like the emperor has no clothes. They got exposed. And that's the real reason why they didn't finalize his deal. Hey. And it makes everybody look bad. Reggie Theus as the athletic director. And because the attention didn't go into straightening that situation out. The president, because when you read some of the comments that was in that particular video that he shot with Roland Martin, there were people who said, I was a student at BCU. And one of the things I noticed was my financial aid was messed up all the time, but when I walked past the parking lot, it was full of Mercedes-Benz and BMWs. So, you know,
I mean, but that's the typical HBCU store, right? But this is let's be real, man. They got scared that for one, they got butt hurt that they was exposed. For two, they got scared that them white folk was gonna pull their money out. That's why he was like, well, Disney called. Disney didn't tell them to do anything. Disney just asked what you gonna do about it. He took it upon himself. What Disney told me. What they if they saying that they want me to fire him, so I might well go ahead. You see, because Roland Martin asked him a direct question, and he gave him a whole ass answer.
Yeah, and that's kind of my approach with it. It's two things. One, I think I when I first heard it, I was like, all right, you could have cleaned this up a little bit. But after thinking about it, I'm like, nah, Ed Reed did it the way it needed to be done. Because Deion Sanders did it clean. And we glossed over it. It kind of, you know, people didn't really go at Jackson State. And at this point, they kind of had moved on. If Ed Reed had handled it the same way Deion handled it, he would have got the same. It would have played out the same way.
The conditions wouldn't have got better.
Right now, this university is forced to deal with it, and the problem they're having is the same problem we have in the Black community with a lot of other things. Right? I don't want to fix it. I just don't want to know it's there. Like, I know it's a problem, but don't show it to me. The fuck you doing? And so even with that, like, I'm looking at this motherfucker talking about what the president. I'm listening to him, and Joe, you did it right, man. With the master said, I was like, yo, if this ain't some coonery type, buffoonery type shit, I don't even think Disney called, if we being honest.
bruh, I'm with you. I think he made that up.
Right. This motherfucker is he talking, and because he didn't have the balls to stand on something that they actually said. He was just like, well, they reached out. Well, motherfucker, that could be an email. Maybe you sent them a message.
Yeah,
maybe
they asked me what we was gonna do.
So
I took it on myself to fire him. What?
Right. Like, but even to that, like we always talking about Black universities, and this is a conversation we had in one of the breakdowns, right? We were talking about how HBCUs are they're almost all of the big ones are doing their damnedest to become the Black version of a PWI. That's what this is. This dude is basically saying, yes, we're a Black institution, and you should entrust your Black children to us, but we are beholden to white zaddy. I learned that word from PC and Joe, by the way. But anyway.
No, not me.
Take full responsibility for that.
But that's what it sounds like, right? Like that's
not what it sounds like. That's exactly what it. You heard them. That's exactly what it is, bruh. That's exactly what it is. Hold on. Let's play it again. We gotta listen to him say it.
And that people can say whatever they want to say, but we think you can do anything respectfully. And when we think about the culture that we're trying to build,
let me back it up a bit.
Was it the second video? What was the final straw? What caused it? Where you made the decision that we're not moving forward with Ed Reed as coach?
I think the final straw was actually the third or fourth video, one with the background music being booties, butts, and boobs, and hoes. And, we have 65% of our campus is female. And my view is that we are trying to build young men to respect Black women. We're trying to build a culture where they understand that people can say whatever they want to say, but we think you can do anything respectfully. And when we think about the culture that we're trying to build, that we have companies and partners like Disney and some of our other partners calling saying, what are you going to do about that? We can't support that kind of image. And of course, they're one of our biggest sponsors for the Classic.
So you're saying Disney, officials with Disney called you complaining about Ed Reed and saying we can't support Bethune-Cookman if he's going to represent the university?
They didn't say we can't. They questioned what we were going to do. And I think that was an appropriate way to approach it. But they weren't the only.
So were they implying that they would pull support if he continued as head coach?
I think that as a leader, you have to make the decision. And if they are inquiring.
Anyways, but even to that, right? He support you. You hear the support he gave for Disney.
Mm-hmm.
That was the correct way to handle it. The way they handled it. They probably didn't. But even beyond that, so 60, 65%